She was sleeping peacefully in the next room, while I sat in the dark reading the messages where she called me her ATM, and that's when I realized my entire life was a lie. Before I continue, my dear friends, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video with your loved ones. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much. My friends, please, sit down, grab a drink, and really listen because today's story, oh, this one is something else. I never thought I'd share it with anyone, but here I am. I've carried this in my heart for years, and now I feel like maybe someone out there can learn from it. You know how it is in this life, right? We think we are the masters of our fate until the wind blows from a direction we didn't prepare for. Grab your water, your tea, or whatever you're sipping on, and let's talk man to man, heart to heart. This isn't just a tale of boy meets girl. It's a tale of how a man loses himself and finds something much better in the ruins. It all started when I was just a young man, fresh out of college, trying to figure out life. You know that feeling, the one where everything seems possible but nothing feels safe. I had my degree in my hand and a fire in my belly. I moved to the city with one suitcase and a lot of prayers. I found a steady job in an accounting firm, nothing fancy, just numbers and spreadsheets, but it was mine. I had a small apartment where the roof leaked when the rain was too heavy, but I didn't care. I was the man. I was independent. I thought I knew everything there was to know about people. I thought I could spot a liar from a mile away. Oh, how wrong I was. Brightened. I met Sarah on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesday was the day I usually went to the small cafe near my office to treat myself to a meat pie. The cafe was crowded, steam rising from coffee mugs, the smell of burnt sugar in the air. I was looking for a seat when I saw her. She was sitting by the window, a book in her hand, looking like she belonged in a painting. When she looked up and caught my eye, she didn't look away. She smiled. It wasn't just a polite smile. It was a smile that said, "I've been waiting for you to notice me." I nearly tripped over my own feet. I was young, I was naive, and I thought I had just met an angel. We started talking that very day. Her voice was like music, smooth, rhythmic, and comforting. She told me she was a fashion designer, a dreamer, someone who saw the world in colors I couldn't even name. My friends, I was hooked. Within 2 weeks, we were inseparable. We spent every evening together. I'd walk her home, and we'd stand under the streetlights for hours just talking about nothing and everything. I started spending money I didn't have to buy her gifts, to take her to nice places. I wanted to be the hero in her story. I didn't realize that in her story, the hero was whoever had the most to offer at that moment. As the months went by, I let her into the deepest parts of my soul. Now, you have to understand, I grew up in a house where we didn't talk about feelings much. My father was a stern man, a man of silence. But with Sarah, the words just poured out of me. I told her about the nights I went to sleep hungry as a boy so my younger sisters could eat. I told her about the shame I felt when I couldn't afford new shoes for graduation. She would hold my hand, look into my eyes, and say, "I'm here now. You're safe with me." And I believed her. I gave her the keys to my heart, my apartment, and eventually, my bank account. Looking back, the signs were always there. We just choose to be blind when we are in love, don't we? The first crack wasn't a big explosion, it was a whisper. It started with her phone. She used to leave it on the table, but suddenly, it was always face down. She'd take calls in the other room, her voice dropping to a low murmur. When she came back, she'd have this strange, distant look in her eyes. "Who was that?" I'd ask. "Just my mother," she'd say. Or, "Just a client." But her mother lived in the village and didn't call at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. My gut told me something was wrong, but my heart called my gut a liar. I tried to bring it up. She turned it around on me. "This is a trick you must watch out for, my friends." She'd say, "Oh, so you don't trust me now? After everything I've done for you? You're so insecure, John." It's exhausting. She made me feel like I was the problem. I'd end up apologizing to her for catching her in a lie. I started walking on eggshells in my own home. I was trying so hard to keep the peace that I was losing my own soul. The silences between us grew longer, and they weren't the comfortable kind of silences. They were heavy, like a storm waiting to break. The sky was the color of an old bruise. I had left work early because I had a splitting headache. I just wanted to go home and sleep. When I walked into the apartment, it was quiet. Sarah wasn't there, but her tablet was sitting on the coffee table, buzzing with notifications. Usually, I wouldn't look. But that day, something pushed me. A notification popped up on the screen, a message from a name I didn't recognize. "I can't wait to see you tonight, baby. I miss your touch." My heart stopped. My headache vanished, replaced by a cold, numbing fire in my veins. I picked up the tablet. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped it. I opened the messages. It wasn't just one message. It was hundreds. Photos, plans, jokes about me. She called me the ATM. She told this other man how bored she was with me, how she was just waiting for the right time to leave. I felt like I was reading a script of a horror movie, and I was the victim. Every "I love you" she had ever said to me felt like a physical blow to my stomach. I sat there on the floor of our living room, the rain hammering on the roof, feeling like the smallest man in the world. I don't know how long I sat there. The light in the room faded as the sun went down. I didn't turn on the lamps. I just sat in the dark, staring at the screen until it went black. I wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. I wanted to smash the tablet against the wall, but I didn't have the energy. I felt empty. Have you ever felt that? Like someone reached inside you and scooped out everything that makes you human. I was just a shell. A shell that had been used, lied to, and laughed at by the person I would have died for. When Sarah finally came home, she was humming a song. She flipped the light switch and jumped when she saw me sitting there in the dark. "God, John, you scared me. What are you doing?" She laughed. I didn't say a word. I just slid the tablet across the floor toward her feet. The laughter died instantly. Her face went from confused to pale to hard. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just looked at me with cold, calculating eyes. "So," she said, her voice flat. "Now you know. No apology. No, it's not what it looks like. Just, now you know." Deceit. I found my voice, though it sounded like it belonged to someone else. "Why, Sarah, why did you stay if you hated me so much?" She laughed then, a sharp, bitter sound. "I didn't hate you, John. You were just convenient. You're a nice guy, but nice guys are boring. You provided a roof. You paid the bills. You were a safe place to land while I looked for what I really wanted. The cruelty of it was breathtaking. She talked about our relationship like it was a business transaction that had simply expired. I realized in that moment that I hadn't been in love with a woman, I had been in love with a mask. Reality. I told her to leave. I didn't yell. I didn't raise my hand. I just pointed to the door. She packed a bag, acting like she was just going on a weekend trip, and walked out into the rain. I stood by the window and watched her get into a car driven by the man from the messages. I watched the taillights disappear into the mist. I thought the pain would be the worst part, but it was the silence that followed. My apartment felt huge and haunted. Every corner held a memory that was now a lie. The weeks that followed were a blur of gray. I went to work, I came home, I stared at the wall. I stopped eating. My friends called, but I didn't answer. I felt like I had a sign on my forehead that said, failure. I blamed myself. If only I was richer, if only I was funnier, if only I wasn't so boring. This is what betrayal does. It makes you the villain in your own story. I was drowning in a sea of what ifs. I stopped believing in God, I stopped believing in love, and I almost stopped believing in myself. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. My eyes were sunken, my beard was wild, and my spirit was gone. I realized that Sarah was out there living her life, laughing and eating, while I was sitting here dying slowly. I realized that by staying miserable, I was still giving her power over me. I took a long, cold shower. I shaved. I cleaned my apartment. I threw away everything that reminded me of her. It was time to stop being a ghost in my own life. Face in the crowd. Months later, I started going out again. Not to find love, I was done with that, but just to be human. My friend Daniel dragged me to a charity event. You need to see people, John, he said. I went, mostly just to get him to stop bothering me. It was a loud, colorful event. I was standing by the drinks table when a woman approached. She wasn't dressed in designer clothes like Sarah. She wore a simple yellow dress and had a smile that felt like a warm blanket. Her name was Lucy. Didn't try to impress me. She didn't tell me grand stories. She just asked me about my day and actually listened to the answer. We talked about the charity, about the kids they were helping, about our favorite books. There was no pressure. No game. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I had to perform. I told her a joke, and she laughed, a real, belly-shaking laugh. It was the most beautiful sound I had heard in a year. We exchanged numbers, but I didn't call her for a week. I was scared. My heart was still a construction site, and I wasn't sure if it was ready for visitors. Eventually, I did call. We went for coffee, then dinner, then walks in the park. Lucy was patient. She knew I had a past, though I didn't give her the details yet. She showed me that love doesn't have to be a roller coaster. It can be a steady path. She'd bring me soup when I was sick. She'd send me funny texts during the workday. She wasn't trying to get anything from me, she just wanted to be with me. I started to realize that my boring life was exactly what the right person would cherish. Just when I felt like I was finally over the mountain, Sarah reappeared. I was at the market with Lucy, carrying bags of groceries, feeling light and happy. And there she was. She looked different. The sparkle was gone. She looked older, tired. When she saw me, she stopped dead in her tracks. My heart did a somersault, but then it settled. I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel anger. I just felt nothing. Me. Lucy stepped back a bit, giving a space but staying close enough to let me know she was there. "John," Sarah whispered. "You look good." I just nodded. "I've been meaning to call," she continued. Things didn't work out with him. He wasn't like you. He was a liar. He treated me horribly. I almost wanted to laugh. She was coming to me because her exciting choice had failed. She wanted the boring man back because he was safe. She started to say she was sorry, but I held up my hand. "No, Sarah," I said, and my voice was as steady as a rock. "I forgive you. I really do. But I forgive you for me, not for you. I don't want an apology, and I don't want a conversation. I spent a long time healing from the wounds you left, and I've built a beautiful life on top of those scars. There is no room for you in it." Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't feel that old urge to protect her. I turned back to Lucy, took her hand, and we walked away. I didn't look back once. I told Lucy everything. The whole story. The rain, the tablet, the hunger, the heartbreak. I expected her to be scared off, but she just hugged me. "I'm glad you went through that," she said. I was shocked. "Why?" I asked. "Because it made you the man you are now," she whispered. "And I love the man you are now." That's when I realized that Sarah didn't break me, she broke me open so that something better could grow. My friends, I look back at that young man in the leaky apartment, and I want to give him a hug. I want to tell him that the pain is necessary. You see, a seed has to be completely destroyed for a tree to grow. My old self had to be destroyed for my new self to exist. I learned that you cannot build a life on someone else's approval. You have to build it on your own values. I learned that nice isn't a weakness, it's a superpower when it's paired with boundaries. I have a home filled with laughter. Lucy and I have 2 beautiful children. We don't have secrets. Our phones sit face up on the table. We talk about our fears before they turn into resentments. I'm not the ATM anymore. I'm a partner, a father, and a man who knows his worth. Life didn't give me what I wanted, it gave me what I needed to become who I was meant to be. And that, my friends, is the greatest gift of all. So, if you are sitting there today with a broken heart, if you feel like the world has moved on without you, if you feel like you were too much, or not enough, for someone, listen to me. You are not a failure. You are in training. The rain is falling now, but the soil is getting ready. Don't rush the healing. Don't hate the person who hurt you. They were just a character in a chapter you've already finished reading. Your story is just getting good. My dear, listen carefully. A man who loves you, who is loyal, who is present, that is a treasure in your hand. Don't chase what's uncertain. Don't flirt with the brush when the bird is already yours. Some women make a mistake of leaving the one who truly cares, only to come back later, asking for another chance. But let me tell you this clearly. A bird in your hand is worth more than 100 in the brush. Respect the love that is real, the hands that hold you, and the hearts that never play games. Don't waste your life chasing illusions while the blessing you already have is right there, waiting for you to cherish it. Forgiveness without access. You can forgive someone and still never speak to them again. Forgiveness is about your peace. Access is a privilege they have to earn. Thank you so much for watching this African tale. Tell me, where are you watching from? Please drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'd really love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring African stories. And always remember, love, faith, and courage are the greatest treasures you can ever have. God bless you all. Bye.